$300. So I more than adjusted for that overcharge. You'll also see in these invoices that in August, I gave a professional courtesy discount of $300. In October, I gave a discount of $350. And in December, I gave a professional courtesy discount of $200. So for 2016, I gave total discounts of $1,150, and they are so indicated in each of these invoices. So, with that being said, I'll make these available. This copy highlights those entries for the sake of review, but I want to be open, willing to admit if we did anything wrong, but I also don't want to be accused of cheating the township, and I didn't do it. So you're welcome to pick those up at the end of the meeting, and those are the 12 months of invoices for Swell Offices, for all the time spent on legal matters for Donovan Township.
Do you have anything else?
That's all I have.
Planning Commission.
Yes, we did a meet last night, and we did a reorganization. Well, I guess start us off. Heath Small resigned, or decided not to run again as the chairman of the Planning Commission. I am now chairman of the Planning Commission. Jerry Zwicky is remained as our secretary, and Bob
Morgan.
Morgan, thank you. Bob Morgan is now the vice chair. We want to say Mike Curtis for drawing is where it is on the agenda. We also started last night with Mike Curry that we would begin the process of planning and zoning by submitting any changes or any updates that we felt was necessary directly to him so he could put it in to the word process paper that Gary alluded to earlier. So we now have that set up where all that information will go directly to him. We can put it all at one time with the idea of coming back the 24th and having the work paper to proceed with that point. That's about it. Oh, excuse me, I might mention that the three people that we're looking at that we may need to recertify is Jerry Zwicker, Keith Small, and Tony Passanelli. Those are the three that we have questions about on their term of office, their latest term of office. That's it.
Thank you. Police Department. John?
Yes, sir. In the report I submitted to you, there's some 2016 total numbers, and in the interest of not boring everybody totally to death, I'll avoid that. As usual, we provided a minimum of 496 man-hours of service. That's for the township and the borough combined. We responded to, let's see here, 139 calls for service. We initiated investigations on 9 reportable crimes. We closed, the report reflects 4, we closed another today, so 5 of those. Stay away from the annual. We conducted 13 traffic stops and produced 3 citations. We investigated 5 accidents. Interestingly enough, for 2016, the increase, I think it was like 2 or 3 accidents, is negligible. We've managed to keep actual crashes and accidents down. I think that's because of our traffic enforcement. We patrolled 4,427 miles. We used approximately 361 gallons of gas. In November, we did not have the report from the magistrate for the fines collected. We included November as well as December in this month's report. And I've also attached copies of the Buffalo and the Claysville report as we usually do. And that's it. The car, there's a little bit of debate over the price because we've gone into the new calendar year. But I feel confident that the order is probably by the end of the day tomorrow. And they're going to go ahead and go with the price that they agree with. So that should be started.
You done, John?
Yes, sir.
One thing I'd like to mention, John, if you mentioned, I didn't hear it, but for 2016, your call volume was 422 calls more than 2015.
Yes, sir.
23% increase.
Yes, sir. That's
Oh.
correct. And that's been
Anybody-
pretty consistent over the last, how long have I been here, 3 years? I
If
mean,
anybody
we,
questions the need for police department, there's your answer.
well, I appreciate that, but I mean, I think our guys are heads up, I think they're addressing things that maybe we weren't able to before, so, but thank you for those.
That it?
Yes, sir.
I apologize, I forgot to mention a few things. Folks are here again to give you a briefing on the compressor station that presented at us last night. Also, Darrell Iams asked to do some subdivision work with his own property and was curious to find out if he'd go ahead with that. We reviewed everything that he brought to us last night and it was fine, so he's allowed to proceed on with his subdivision.
Office.
Not much to report. We did purchase a new fireproof file cabinet, I think it's a place, isn't it? Our records that we have to keep on, certain records that we have to keep a little safer than the rest of them, we run out of space, and we purchased a file cabinet, which was like about $1,000 for a fireproof file. That's a tall four-door file. It's in place and working.
So, yeah.
Yep. And the rest of the stuff later.
The following minutes were submitted for approval, December 14th, 15th, 22nd, 29th, 2016, and January 3rd, 2017.
I so moved.
Second.
Mr. Haley.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Prescott.
Yes.
Announcements. There was an executive session January 10th, 2017, from approximately 8:10 to 8:20 p.m. to discuss personnel matters with the police department.
Dave, I think you ought to add to it, after the planning commission met last night, we had an executive session, once again, over personnel.
That's what that's for.
Yeah.
That's what you're announcing?
Yeah,
Yes.
last
Over-
night.
Okay.
Okay.
Over, and possibly the scheduling of the hearing.
Okay.
Additions to the agenda.
I have none.
Financial report.
Okay, after the, we approved payments of bills today, there's financial report before you, but let you know the general fund balance will be at $148,544.05, and that's about the lowest it's been in a long time. We're about $15,000 away, about $18,000 away from, I think we're gonna have to start tightening the belt and perhaps look at county expenses and perhaps even letting people off. Water and sewer, the account balance is $73,807.51. The fuel liquid account is $18,315.17. Capital reserve liquid account is $21,264.56. The Act 13 fund is $587,299.01. The Parks and Rec account is $4,871.34. The road bond and escrow is at $94,000, and the fire escrow is at 0.
If you'll notice on your treasury report, under Capital Improvement Act 13, it's handwritten in there 587. That's because of a typing error.
Stop the hill, make a left. Good.
All right, public comment.
Did we want to approve these?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll move the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There'll be another correction in the bank balance on the checking account. This number that is on the handout is incorrect. The number I announced, 18,315.17, is the correct number. Okay, I would move that we approve the treasury report as presented.
Second.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
how about yes? Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Public comment, limited to items on the agenda. Darren?
I had a question. It was about with Mike Curtis resigning off the planning commission.
Well, we'll get to that.
It's on.
Oh, that's,
So he can comment on it.
Okay, good.
I didn't see anything on it. That's why I asked. Is it on there somewhere? Did I miss it?
New business.
Okay, then I'll just wait.
Any other public comment? Go ahead, Bob.
It's been brought up in several different meetings that if the fund balance was dropped to a certain point, there will have to be layoffs and belt tightening. Where do you plan on doing the layoffs?
Really, we don't know yet. We'll wait till we get to that point.
Okay, because we've gone through, what, 5 meetings, extra meetings, to plan the budget and so forth, but you're saying now you don't know where you'll be laying off. I mean, I've heard the road crew
I
and
think
so
we can answer that
forth.
question.
Yeah, we'll wait till we get to that point, and then we'll decide. It might not come to that. The weather's been pretty mild right now. We might make it through.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comment?
Yeah, the public notice for the development of the zoning ordinance and oil and gas regulations. You guys initially made a motion, you seconded it, we fought it in court, and you never actually approved the new wording, but you have advertised it.
Well, they approved the wording, we just deleted a sentence.
But you changed it.
I had the authority to change it. As the attorney for this board, I
But
had
they
the
don't need
authority-
to
No,
they don't need to,
no.
okay?
Any other public comment? Old business. Planning Commission has reviewed and recommended the site plan for Delashon compressor station. Gentlemen are here tonight, so you just want to give your presentation?
Yeah, I'll move to, you want to give a presentation first, or want to make a motion on the floor before they give it?
Let them present first,
Okay.
and then like that.
I don't know if you had a copy of the plan, so just tab one.
Is that for us to keep?
Huh?
Is that for us?
Yeah, I think you have some.
Yeah, they're in.
All right, if we have, we know, then need another one.
Stick it up there. Separate page. Yep. Third page is where the ordinary data.
What legal name do I, how do I put your name down?
This will be Columbia Gibraltar Gathering LLC. It's the owner of the
Okay.
property and the applicant.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, well, it actually pushes through there. Can you seal it in? Yeah, it should stay. I'm not
That's
damn
not
lighting it the whole time. I'm holding it there.
Move those arms up from the bottom.
Oh, there you go. Well, let's try that one more time there. It's stuck on one side. You've got to get it to the hinge. Brings this to. There we go. That's-
No good.
Don't be breathing, you'll be all right.
Don't open the door.
Don't touch it.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Max Junker. I'm an attorney with Babst Calland. We are outside counsel to Columbia Pipeline Group. Columbia Gibraltar Gathering LLC is a subsidiary. I think I recognize a lot of familiar faces from last night. I know members of the Board of Supervisors were in attendance last night for the Planning Commission meeting, so I don't want to retread too many of the details of our presentation last night, but for the benefit of those that weren't here, I will just briefly explain I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined by Jeff Winkle, struggling with the display there. Olin Balby as the project manager with TransCanada and Columbia Midstream Pipeline Group. And we had another engineer last night, but tonight we have Dave Sinclair, who has worked on some of the road issues, because that was a point of discussion last night, and we felt his attendance here tonight would be beneficial. Briefly, this plan is a land development plan. It is not a subdivision plan. We own the entire property. We're not parceling off any pieces. It's approximately 100 acres. We're only disturbing approximately 10 acres with the road as well as the site for the compressor station. We have to come through land development approval because we do put a building around these compressor engines, one for shelter, keep them out of the elements, and for sound mitigation as well. So that is the requirement, because it's a non-residential building, that we come through the subdivision and land development process, even though we're not subdividing. When we appeared in front of the Planning Commission back in September, we received a recommendation for approval on our preliminary plan. There were some questions about Delashon Road as part of that preliminary recommendation. That was approved by the board in September. The preliminary plan was approved. There was a subsequent motion in October regarding Columbia using their best efforts to maintain Delashon Road. We did file now for final approval. This is the next step and the final step. As part of this process, we did want to give you an update. In compliance with that preliminary condition, we did undertake some road upgrades of Delashon Road, and we haven't used it, and there's no activity going on in the site that we're doing. We haven't moved any equipment on or off, but we did coordinate and cooperate with the township, and Jeff can speak to that, and Dave as well, in terms of installing new drainage and widening the road in portions. But it is a gravel road, and even without us using it, just the normal wear and tear of the so far mild winter has caused some additional damage. Jeff was just out there today based on some of the reports from the Planning Commission and confirmed, yes, there are washouts. It does need to be fixed up. We have received building permits for the main building as well as an auxiliary building. We have a pending building permit for the retaining wall that is going to be put in there. So that is on the building permit side. We have submitted for our ESC GP2, an erosion and sedimentation control general permit from the state DEP. That is under review. We expected to have that in hand, but we don't just yet. But we do believe that is a third-party approval that this board can approve. Final approval for this land development plan, subject to receiving that and following any additional state permits that are required for any type of site development. We can't move anything, any dirt on the property until we have that in hand, so we will say that. In terms of the road, a secondary issue that, and just today and looking back at our files, we did have an excess hauling and maintenance agreement in place with the township as part of the just Gibraltar pipeline project. We would be willing, and we have copies tonight, to renew that agreement for another year. If the board would want to make that as a separate motion tonight, we're prepared to put up and under a road permit 3 roads that will be used in the township so that they are inspected before we start using them. They're maintained during construction, and then they are finally closed out and inspected at the end of our use. Unlike a typical well pad development site, we do not have the constant stream of 24/7 sand trucks and water trucks, drill rigs going in and out of this site. We will be moving the actual compressor using some sophisticated hauling equipment. That will require separate road bonding. We will provide the flaggers. I understand one of the conditions, the notice 48 hours in advance, no problem on that end. But at the end of the day, for our land development plan, Really, there have been no changes to the plan that was approved in September. Really, all we did was change the preliminary heading to final because there were no conditions regarding site layout or changing anything from the preliminary approval. We are looking at a construction schedule of as soon as all permits are in place, hopefully starting in February or early March, and provided everything works out, and wrapping up in the fall or so. We do have, as I said, our representatives here to answer any questions from members of the board. And in listening to Mr. Sweat's list of conditions, we had discussed those with the Planning Commission to varying degrees. I don't see any issues with them, and for the ones that aren't imposed as a requirement on the final land development plan, it would be items that Columbia would be doing voluntarily, because I think anybody who's been in this community and has interacted with this group, I do know that safety is a number one priority for the community as well as the employees and the people that will be utilizing this station. We did talk a bit about remote shutdowns. I think if there are any additional questions. Just as you were, it just sort of came back to me as you're talking about your sewage plant and the remote shutdowns that are placed there because of the health hazards that can be caused by failure and the lack of requirement to have an actual person monitoring a site 24/7. Well, we do have a computer system, we do have the valves that shut down, we do have people monitoring it, we do have actual valves that can be triggered on the site. So there are a number of layers of fail-safe safety features.
Max, how many compressors are there going to be?
Jeff and Olin, do you want to?
There's 2 units shown on that site plan.
Do you anticipate more than 2?
I think, Nolan, do we anticipate this time? I don't think so this time.
No, everything in current commercial design is for 2.
Okay.
There is space within the site to add 2 in the future.
To expand, you could expand.
But there's no funding authorized, that's kind of just
Okay.
waiting room for future.
Will this area be fenced?
Yes,
It'll be fenced. The ENS controls, will they involve the installation of a pond, do you know?
yes.
There will be a pond? Is that going to be a dry pond, or will it be filled all the time?
I would anticipate you'd see it be dry a fair bit.
It should be dry. It'll be a stormwater detention.
Stormwater
During a
detention.
storm event, it will, fill up and then dissipate the water into the groundwater.
It discharges just into the ground, is that, or,
It's an infiltration basin, yes, not it's not diverting it anywhere else. It looks like we have a proposed channel coming this way, a channel coming from this way to the site.
Yep.
It's designed in compliance with DEP requirements. They're real big on what they term rain gardens, which infiltrate water back to the ground table.
will there be employees at the site, in 8-hour shifts, or no?
Now, it's what we classify as an unmanned facility.
Unmanned.
But it will be visited by at least one individual on almost a daily basis.
Okay. Supervisors, you have any questions? Public, any questions? Okay.
Thank you very much. We look forward to your motion and to continue working with the township as this project moves forward.
Thank you.
Would you like me to recommend the motion?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. You have it written? I didn't take it down.
Is this being taken? I will-
Go ahead, you talk.
I can do it, I have notes here, but the motion, recommended motion is to approve the land development site plan presented by Columbia Gibraltar Gathering LLC for the Gibraltar Phase 3 compressor station located off of Delashon Road, subject to the following conditions: that the applicant, property owner, use its best effort to maintain, upgrade, and if possible, stabilize Delashon Road before any construction activity begins. Number 2, meet with the fire chief and fire marshal, one and the same, to make certain that the Donegal and Claysville Fire Departments have the appropriate training in the event there is an emergency that they need to attend to. 3, to meet with the zoning building inspector for the township, Mr. Doug Turbovich, to review the plans, just to make sure that neither of us is going to encounter a problem with inspections and the design requirements, construction requirements set forth under the Uniform Construction Code. Erect a 911 emergency address at the entrance to the site. Provide the township with an emergency contact who will be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Provide 48 hours notice to the police chief before there's any movement of heavy vehicles or compressors onto Delashon Road and the site. Re-execute the road bond and maintenance agreement with the township, identifying the 3 township roads that the applicant believes it will be traveling, and post the requisite bond for those roads. And lastly, coordinate all trucking activities so as not to interfere with the school bus transportation of students in the morning and in the afternoon. And my recommendation is that they contact the transportation director for the McGuffey School District to coordinate the bus schedules on the township roads that Gibraltar, Columbia will be traveling. So those would be the conditions attached to the approval. That's the motion.
You'll provide that to me.
And to us as well.
Okay.
I took notes, but I want to make sure we get a letter.
One thing I did want to ask the board is, the current bond that we had for the 5 roads was $187,500. We would like to, it's currently still in effect. Even though we're only gonna bond 3 roads, we'd like to just have you hold on to that bond, if that was all right. That, it's still in effect as of right now. Our agreement was for 1 year, it expired on December 22nd, but the bond is a continuous bond. If you are okay holding that larger amount to those 3 roads.
Sure, that's fine.
And we also have our escrow check is larger than what's needed, but we're willing to let that roll over too.
Let's just confirm the bond is still in place.
Yep.
You can do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
You said it, I'll second.
Yeah, well,
Zach seconded it.
Who made it?
You did.
I did? I don't remember that. Okay, Mr. Ely?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Okay, there were no previous tabled items. New business.
Well, we got this road bond here that they sent us. You guys filled this out, I assume.
They're gonna send the hauling application fee, but the escrow is gonna stay in place, and the bond will stay in place, but they just have to redo the applications for the 3 roads that they're going to be on.
Yes.
And they will send a check for that, so does that need to be approved?
Is that part of,
That's part of the
covered in
approval.
that.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
Okay, new business. Planning Commission member Mike Curtis has submitted his resignation. Motion to accept Mike's resignation with regret.
I so moved.
I'll second.
Go ahead and read the resolution.
Increasingly, I find myself faced with time constrictions, which make it difficult for me to attend meetings and workshops with any degree of regularity. I feel it is irresponsible for me to continue to occupy a chair on the Planning Commission that could be filled by someone capable of applying the diligence and attendance that the position deserves. In the light of this, please consider my notice that I respectively resign my position on the Planning Commission effective immediately. Mike Curtis.
Mr. Ely?
I don't think I made a motion yet.
Yeah.
Okay, who seconded it?
Did you second it?
All right,
Yeah.
yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Okay, motion to advertise a vacancy on the planning commission.
I shall move.
Second.
We want to set up the dates before we vote on it?
Yeah, well, have the applications in by 12 noon on the 20th of January. Is that okay with Zach?
Okay, with that?
Yep.
You can vote on it.
Mr. Ely?
Yes.
How about yes? Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Okay, back,
I didn't like the motion.
background, Reed Covelin has applied for a 10-acre sewage exemption for his family farm on Crane Road. The property was sold at a public auction to Ethan Ward. Motion to approve it, deny, or table it.
I move we approve.
Second.
Mr. Ely?
Yes.
How about yes?
Wait, can I ask a question? Why is Mr. Coverland applying for the exemption if he no longer owns the property? Why isn't Mr. Ward?
Still owns the property as of today.
The deed hasn't been transferred yet.
Oh,
But does Mr. Ward have any objection to it, do you think?
I would think not, he's probably the one that's
Okay,
wants it,
all right.
I would suppose. Okay, Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I already did.
Yeah.
Okay. Additions to the agenda? None. Correspondence?
Lots of it. Yeah, well, I guess we do have another issue. We could add it on the end before we.
That's
It's
fine.
going to require board action.
Yes, yes.
Put it in
For now?
as an addition.
Okay. This is for the campground permits. We have 2 applications for renewal. Hmm? Well, there's only one, I was just aware of 2.
Yeah, they came in.
All right. Seems to be a question on whether or not